Hi, it's not Ash Wednesday anymore.
No, it's not.
But these powdered candy hearts are really sticking to my head.
This is just your new aesthetic now.
Yeah.
You're just a little smudgy.
I've always been a little smudgy.
You look like my dad after he just got out of the garage. Just a bit covered in smudge. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Who Would Win in a Fight. This is a Patreon-exclusive web series in which Witney and I go through his back catalog of superheroes he created when he was 12.
On trading cards, as you can see.
Well over 100 of these. He did his illustrations for them all, backstories for them all. And he's going to tell us every embarrassing thing about him.
All of them great ideas.
So what we do is we pick two at random. He explains them, possibly at random, and then we decide which of them would win in a fight, and you help us decide that as well by leaving comments in the Patreon.
That's right.
So away we go.
Let's shuffle these first to make sure you're not stacking the deck or anything.
I wasn't sure if they were in a special kind of order.
Oh no.
Okay.
I think they were at some point. Like I had heroes, then villains, then like they were categorized. So I'm gonna cut to the middle of the deck here.
What do we got here?
Oh dear. Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's Bladder.
It's Blader.
It's Bladder.
It looks like it says Bladder. It says Blader. He's a blade guy. There's not much to him.
He's a blade guy.
He's a blade man.
I like his blade bicycle helmet.
yeah, he's got a blade bicycle helmet. He sure does.
He's got like little hands that shoot out. Are they shooting out blades? Or are they just really long and have blades on them?
They're shooting out blades.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has blade knee pads. And cleats, which is a good, just completes the...
if you're going to be walking around, you want rotary saws welded to the bottoms of your boots, which was my idea for this guy. I thought it was neat, like rotary saws were neat. I thought, how come there's not a super villain who shoots rotary saws?
Why doesn't Blader have roller blades?
I wasn't that hip.
Were you at all inspired by Blade from the Masters of the Universe movie?
I think I was inspired by Metal Man from the Mega Man video games.
Makes sense.
Because he also like fired out. I think they were supposed to be gears, but they looked like rotary saws. Once again, here's another character who got prosthetic limbs.
Yeah, happens a lot.
He lost his forearms. They were replaced with these kind of miniature smelting machines. So he was a mechanic. He was able to come up with this magical smelter that could essentially just...
A magical smelter.
It could essentially create as many rotary saws as he wanted in an instant. It, like, replicated
What is
rotary
it
saws.
smelting?
I think the idea was, like, he either had to eat a lot or he had to, like, insert metal into them. I went back and forth on that idea. What do you like better? That he has to turn the proteins in his body into metal, or that he has to sort of...
Then the saws are edible and you can just catch them with your mouth. They're just like, he just shoots cookies at you, like,
here's a fruit roll, zing!
It's in the shape of a blade, but who cares?
They have to be flat and frisbee shaped, so they can only fire out crepes and pizzas.
Now, I will say this, Witney, on the other side of these cards, a future version of Witney, like a 2-3 year older version of Witney, like, drew different versions of these characters. Sometimes they go through big transmutations. I will say this, a significant improvement in the art style on this one.
Art actually improved.
Good force perspective on that. Look at that blade coming out at you. Yeah. Now, it appears that the basic design is functionally the same.
Yeah, he still has the shoulder pads.
It looks like he's in a crappier apartment. You can see, like, the paint peeling off of the walls there. It looks like Blader has been, like, written on the wall by someone, like, some graffiti artist.
Well, the Blader on the other side, on the originals, he's just sort of floating in space there. He's not standing on anything. Just sort of leaping through the air.
So here you gave him an environment and you chose a shitty apartment.
Where is he in this
He looks like he's in a shitty apartment. It looks like you see like the paint peeling away and you see the brick behind it.
It also looks like he's in a tent, which is weird because that is...
Everything is intense with you.
I think because I was really proud of the way I drew like rips, so I wanted to have a lot of ripped walls. Well, what has ripped walls? Tents and Blader.
Well, okay, so it's time to find a competitor for Blader.
Competitor for Blader
in this death match. Let's see who we got. We got
Who's that?
Dares.
DÅRS. This was my attempt at making an international team of superheroes, so I wanted to choose various locations.
What is DÅRS? Who is DÅRS from?
DÅRS is Norwegian.
Okay.
That was his character trait. He's Norwegian. I had nothing else.
What did you know about Norway when you were 12?
That Oslo is the capital, and that Carmen Sandiego sometimes went there
and stole stuff.
From it. I knew very little about Norway, but I wanted to have a Scandinavian superhero.
Okay, so Dors has a sling?
His arms...
And he's standing on, like, it looks like someone knocked over a cactus.
His arms
and he's standing on it?
His arms were, like, all rubbery. He had sort of stretchy powers like Mr. Fantastic.
Got it.
But whereas Mr. Fantastic could sort of stand in one place and sort of stretch his arm almost indefinitely, his volume wouldn't change. Like if he stretched out his arm, it would just get thinner and thinner, like a Stretch Armstrong.
Got it.
And
doesn't sound like a very useful power.
Well,
actually.
He got so good at flinging his arm around in a circle that he could sort of shield himself with his own spinning rubbery arm.
And sure enough, you can see that in the updated version.
Deflecting projectiles over and on both drawings, he is standing over a map of Scandinavia.
Why is he standing on a map of Scandinavia?
It's abstract.
It's abstract.
It's representational. He's not hovering in space above Scandinavia.
I don't know. Maybe he's on like some sort of like he's in like a museum. And you can like walk over the world.
Oh,
like
maybe so.
Or it's like, oh, you know what it is? It's some deity, some godlike supervillain has kidnapped all the heroes and villains and is forcing them to play out like a life-size version of Risk. Like the Risk table is like the size of a basketball field.
That's a better idea than Dors.
What does Dors mean?
Nothing. It is a made-up word.
You didn't even bother to look up what that meant.
I didn't even look up any sort of Norwegian.
You offensive man.
That could be a cuss word in Norwegian for all I know.
God.
Not offensive man, offensive 12-year-old who is ignorant and didn't know any better.
All right, well, let's ask ourselves a question.
For him, I am eternally apologizing.
Who would win in a fight?
Well, it seems
Bladder or Dors?
It turns out these two are kind of evenly matched, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because Bladder will shoot his blads at you and
his blads,
but Dors might be able to sort of be stretchy and stuff, so the blades won't go through. But I think ultimately what's going to happen is eventually Bladder is going to cut through. Dors, right? I mean, doesn't that seem inevitable to you?
Dors has a rubbery body, so a knife would just sort of bounce off of him, or just go in and out of him.
But the sharper it is, the more likely it is to actually finally penetrate it. Yeah, the only question is how much pressure Dors can take.
It might take a lot of knives. Do you remember? What were the names of those toys where you could pull their limbs off and stick them back on? There's a Frankenstein.
Any He-Man toy if you tried hard enough.
It was spongy and soft, and you could kind of stick it back on with goop. There was a pterodactyl, and there was also a Frankenstein monster. I totally forgot the name of these toys. This is a real thing in the 80s.
I believe you.
I'm going to look it up. But I'm thinking you pull those things apart, eventually you can't stick them back together again. You've ripped them apart too much.
Right, so that's what's going to happen.
Blader would shoot so many blades that it would eventually shred Dors's rubbery body.
That's a tragic end to Dors.
That's only if Dors is just standing there.
But what's
Dors has the rubbery arms, and he could just sort of knock the blades back if he's sharp enough.
Could Dors shoot his arms into the blade mechanism and clog it up? If Dors's hands get cut up by the mechanism, do they heal special,
or he can't stretch without throwing himself around or grabbing onto something?
So there's no propulsion level. He's actually just got to.
Yeah, kind of just fling his arm, and it kind of turns into the rubbery thing, which is
I think
why
Dors
he's flinging his arm around in a circle.
I don't think Dors is the best superhero you've ever created.
I think none of them are the best superhero I've ever created. But
I'm putting my money on Bladder. What do you think?
I'm thinking righteousness is on the side of Dors because he is a superhero, whereas Blader is a bad guy.
I just think he's not a very good hero, and they're the first ones to go. Who do you think would win in a fight? Bladder, Blader, or Dors? And if you put in Dors, make sure you put that little circle over the A. Otherwise, it's not. Otherwise, it doesn't count as a vote. Where is it?
There you go. Down. There you go.
There we go. Dors. Dors.
It was important that I have the little circle over there.
I'm glad you put some thought into it. So we'll be back for another rather embarrassing episode of Who Would Win in a Fight.
Thanks for watching.